Dude, this one in particular, Trump isn't just on the list. He helped curate it. I think he did. I mean, the more I research this, guys, the more that I think that Trump was a central, like, trafficker on a much more scandalous level. That Epstein was like a sex-addicted guy trying to be like Donald Trump and John Casablancas and, you know, Jean-Luc Brunel. I think Epstein was trying to be like them, but Epstein was also a fiend who was like way more about like less worried about getting caught. You know what I mean? He was more about his urges, whereas Trump was like more about making sure that it never gets back to him. He bombarded Diana Kensington with massive... Dude, it's really weird, right? You remember Sarah Kellen, okay? Epstein's lieutenant. He bombarded Diana at Kensington with massive bouquets. And Sarah Kellen, Epstein's lieutenant, after she got immunity, she used Kensington as her last name. It's pretty weird, right? He clearly saw Diana as the ultimate trophy wife. As the roses and orchids piled up at her apartment, she became increasingly concerned about what she should do. It had begun to feel as if Trump was stalking her. But Diana did not view Trump in the same way she viewed the softer Teddy Forstman. Over dinner, she told Selena Scott, "He gives me the creeps." Absolutely. Dude, he is so creepy, dude. Dude, Trump is so gross, dude. He is, dude.
Donald Trump, Jeffrey Epstein, Princess Diana, Prince Andrew, Ghislaine Maxwell, what sordid webs they weave. Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were having a friendly bet amongst each other, a disgusting and grotesque bet about which one of them would be able to have sex with Princess Diana first. Trump and Epstein created something called a quote-unquote pussy committee, and as part of this, they tried to figure out ways to get girls over to Prince Andrew, and ultimately Ghislaine Maxwell was the intermediary to the royal family, and so she would be the link between Trump and Epstein and the royal family, and Trump and Epstein were obsessed with the royal family, and part of the pussy committee was getting Prince Andrew these women or girls and getting Prince Andrew money because they said Andrew struggled with money. I mean, you see this photo right here of Andrew and Virginia Guiffre.
By the way, this is in Andrew's house. This photo is actually his house. I found out that this photo was taken. This is Prince Andrew's house. By the way, there is another photo worth looking at, which is Prince Andrew, Gwendolyn Beck. She was well known to be a swinger, involved in sex parties and shit. Dude, they're all deeply connected. And Trump's like, oh, I don't know who Prince Andrew is. It's like, please. They're all in the same circle.
You also go back and you take a look at like the Sunday Mirror from November 23rd, 1997. And this talks about how Ghislaine Maxwell was going around bringing young girls or young women, it says, to Donald Trump. Several American millionaires already had this one young woman on her side, but she was there.
Yeah, remember... We read some of this article in that 3-video series I did about the Epstein timeline. And this was a model that Trump was like, he's had a long history of being very stalkery with women, where he decides he wants some woman and then he's like constantly pursuing them and moving on them like a bitch, as he might say. Right.
There with Robert Maxwell's daughter, Ghislaine, who has introduced several of her attractive friends to the property developer, referring to Donald Trump. You see this photo right here of Donald Trump and Princess Diana.
Dude, yeah, she does not look... Dude, she looks like, please get me out of here. Right? Dude.
Back in 1995, Donald Trump subsequently wrote that Diana was trying to kiss his ass. Donald Trump put that in a book. Diana wanted to kiss my ass.
What they understood, and many people have understood this before them, is that the royal family was one of the great social climbing vectors in the world. If you were involved with the royal family, engaged with the royal family, familiar to the royal family, able to bring the members of the royal family with you, all doors opened. You could have access to anyone you wanted to have access to.
It's weird how much like power and family name and old money, how much that stuff plays into, you know, these guys. Like there's so much in the old money world. There's a lot of family name and leveling. I don't know. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty wild how they fucking jockey for this shit.
Vulgarians who buy this in part because of their connection to the royal family suddenly had access to all of the status and all of the financial circles of the world. I mean, here
a lot of money.
We're two guys, and again we have to ask this question: how?
And it like legitimizes you, right? Like for example, if you're connected to the royal family, you are legitimized in a whole like social stratum where you are now, right? I mean, that's kind of the way these old money wealth circles work is everybody's a gatekeeper. You can't get in there. And there's like levels, right? Like somebody could be very big amongst the billionaires here, but the royal family won't have anything to do with you. And so then you're out over there across the pond. But if the royal family is like in your circle, then now you're legitimized to a whole nother like level of people. And you know, Trump was always trying to get involved in social stratums. You know, he was always trying to move in circles, and a lot of times he couldn't get in. Like one example is he wanted to be in the NFL Owners Club, and they wouldn't let him buy a team. Okay? They wouldn't. They would not let him buy a team, and they wouldn't let him in that club. And he was so fucking pissed that then he bought a USFL team, and then he convinced the USFL to try and challenge the NFL, and it ended up bankrupting the whole league. Like he ruined the league trying to be petty because the NFL like owners club wouldn't let him in. And a lot of like upper crust people like wouldn't let Trump in because he was so uncouth and dirty and unscrupulous. I mean, he did better with like the mob and the Russian oligarchs. Like he always did better in circles where everyone were total fucking degenerates. Like in all the social stratums that required respect and where you had to respect the social structure, he would always get refused from those. And he was like very bitter about it. He was very bitter and petty about like getting excluded.
How did Epstein, who came from nowhere, how did Trump, who came through bankruptcy after bankruptcy, how did both of these guys yet become figures in the world? I mean, figures of enormous wealth and standing. The agent of their royal family plan was Ghislaine Maxwell, with her deep connections throughout British society.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like Ghislaine Maxwell was like, between her and her father, she was the connection. Ghislaine, which is crazy because I remember when Ghislaine ended up getting locked up, at first I was kind of upset by it. I was like, I can't believe that Epstein has a sex ring and there's a woman in prison for it. But the more research I've done, the more I realized that Ghislaine was the access. She was the one who had the levers of all the power. Okay. She was literally the unifying force. Like even with, Jean-Luc Brunel, all of the royalty or the big money in England and in Europe, like she was the international connection. She was the woman that could get into any room, right? Anywhere they wanted to infiltrate, any level of society that they wanted to get into, Ghislaine had access to. She was like the socialite that could get into any space. She could, like Epstein was kind of like a smarmy player. Trump was a gaudy, wealthy dude that everybody didn't like. And Ghislaine Maxwell was like the smooth socialite daughter of this like extraordinarily connected and wealthy, powerful man from a very powerful fucking family. It was like really like she was the glue that held the whole enterprise together, man.
The Pussy Committee consisted of Trump and Epstein in their efforts to get girls for Prince Andrew.
Oh, yikes. So they were trying to ply Prince Andrew to get like into the royal family.
Let me step back because I think that this is incredibly important, a historic note to focus on this word pussy, a word that they use constantly and casually and meaningfully.
Yeah, grab them by the...
This was their currency and reward. It was how they saw the world.
I mean, it was also like, at least Donald Trump, his entire identity was wrapped into this idea of like his value being tied to getting some, right? Whether he was actually getting some or whether he was just disobeying her lack of consent and just taking some and getting away with it because of his fame or his monetary connections. But his whole identity was like, about like smarming. And particularly, I saw somebody say it in chat earlier, particularly he tried to go after married women to like, as like an ego thing. If there was a guy that was more successful than him or was more respected than him, he would try to sabotage that guy's relationship and try to either hook up with her or force himself on her to where she was now in an uncomfortable situation where she didn't feel like she could tell her husband about it, right? Whether she was like, like preyed upon, or he might think she did it of her own volition. He would try to like destroy people's families and shit. Like he was just a profoundly despicable and harm-causing man. He wanted to like cause harm. He's always done that. If he doesn't like someone or feels insecure about them, he wants to like cause as much harm to them as possible. He's really vindictive and nasty. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. You like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.